All right, as you see there, very fiery debate that's ongoing right now on the House floor. This happening on a very busy day on Capitol Hill, as we're hearing not only there in the House chamber, but from senators as well leading up to their vote. But again, it is official now that that procedural vote that was held there in the Senate has now officially failed on the War Powers resolution. I do want to put this live vantage point before we slide away for our final 2-minute commercial break of the hour. The vantage point there of the Senate floor, ultimately, this did fail. It is important to note this as well. Putting this up on your screen, the image there of Democratic lawmaker Senator John Fetterman, the Democrat from Pennsylvania. He was the lone voter at the time, Democratic lawmaker, to vote in the yeah column there on the War Powers resolution. Wanted to make sure we're able to give you all of these updates here on Live Now from Fox. We are going to take this opportunity to slide away for our final 2-minute commercial break. Much more on all of these top stories when we return.
And welcome back to Live Now from Fox. So much going on right now on the Capitol, both on the House side and Senate side. Hi, everyone. Mike Pace here. Thanks so much again for joining us, continuing to be with you on the very latest with the strikes in Iran. Middle East conflict continues. Just moments ago on the Senate side, we saw debate early in the afternoon on the Iran War Powers resolution. The Senate vote just failed there as the Senate just shot down the Democrat-pushed War Powers resolution that would have reined in President Trump's Iran strikes. We did have 2 Republicans that voted against the party there, Senator Rand Paul and Senator Lisa Murkowski as well. Now what we want to do is take you out to the House side. There is not expected to be a vote on this side until tomorrow, but the debate is happening right now. Let's listen it.
Through our armor. One day, on a trip to Sadr City, I watched a massive what's called an MRAP, armored personnel carrier, explode in front of me from an Iranian bomb, and watched as that hulking metal burned to a crisp as American servicemen and women sought to deal with the aftermath. This terrorist regime has killed thousands of their countrymen, killed Americans across the Middle East, and it's time for them to come to an end. This is a partisan political maneuver by the Democrats, and they should be ashamed for what they're doing to put our servicemen and women in danger. And with that, I yield back.
Gentleman yields.
Reserve.
Gentleman from Florida reserves. Gentleman from New York is recognized.
Thank you, Mr. I just would remind the gentleman this is a massive bill. Yes, I yield 1 minute to the gentleman from New York, Representative Jerry Nadler.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I rise in strong support of this resolution and of reasserting Congress' constitutional responsibility. As the gentleman from Florida stated, the president has the power to react to an attack on the United States. He does not have the power to start a war. President Trump's illegal strikes against Iran are dragging the United States into another costly war in the Middle East. To be clear, I shed no tears over the Ayatollah's death. His brutality was responsible for the deaths of scores of his own people, and he directed terrorist proxies around the world. But his removal is unlikely to bring about the revolution and regime change the president seeks. We had a diplomatic agreement with Iran that did contain their nuclear threat with constant verification. But President Trump tore up that agreement. This unnecessary attack is a clear violation of the Constitution. Kings often plunge their nations into wars for plunder or avarice. The Constitution gave the power to decide on war or peace to Congress so that no president could act as a king. That is precisely what the president is doing. We must pass this resolution to chastise President Trump and to reassert what the Constitution provides, that only Congress can decide to commit this nation to war. I urge members to vote yes, and I yield
Gentleman's
back.
time has expired. Members are reminded to refrain from engaging in personalities against the president. Gentleman from New York reserves. Gentleman from Florida is recognized.
I inquire how much time each side has left.
Gentleman from Florida has 15 minutes remaining. And the gentleman from New York has 21 minutes remaining.
Very good. Pleased to yield 2 minutes to the gentleman from Florida, Mr. Fine.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and thank you, Mr. Chairman. You know, I believe in symbolic things at times. It was 47 years ago that Iran began chanting death to America. I don't think it's symbolic that the 47th president of the United States is the first to do something about it. But only one number away from that is 46. And that's the number of Americans that, thanks to Iran, were killed on October the 7th, 2023. I don't think Iran had a meeting where they debated whether they should support Hamas to go and do that attack. They did it, and now we are in the position that we are in. You know, there was a press conference not too long ago where the speaker was asked, you're saying that the president did not need authorization initially and still does not need any authorization from Congress. And the Speaker of the House answered that question, yes. That was Nancy Pelosi when asked about an attack on Libya. President Trump is doing exactly what he is authorized to do, protecting the United States by making sure a terrorist regime cannot attack us using nuclear weapons. And while there may be some who want to wait until we're nuked to have that discussion, I'm not one of them. I support the president. I support his judgment. He has not let us down. He has defined the mission in clear, compelling, and concise ways to make sure they don't get nukes, to make sure they can't develop intercontinental ballistic missiles, and to make sure they don't have a military shield to support them as they do that. We don't have to have a debate before he does that sort of thing. That's what our framers intended. And the fact of the matter is, I wouldn't trust some of the people in this room to have that debate if we wanted to put handcuffs around him before he did that. The president is doing the right thing. We should stand by him. We should trust Trump because he's not letting us down and he won't let us down. Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and I yield back.
Gentleman yields.
Reserve.
Gentleman from Florida reserves. Gentleman from New York is recognized.
I yield 2 minutes.